Pastor Amanda, and we're going to try to take two to see if this is any better. And so, yeah, we are looking at Esther chapters 9 and 10 today because 10's a very short chapter, so we're just going to include it. And just for those of you who follow me on a regular basis, if you have any ideas of where you would like us to go next, please put that in the comments or text or email me. You know how to get a hold of me, most of my folks. And so let me know where you want to see us go next. Otherwise, it'll be a great surprise to both of us tomorrow what we decide to do. But let's look at Esther. Let's close out the book of Esther. Chapter to read at first. You're really going to have to step out of your comfort zone. For those of us who know a gospel of love, a gospel of peace, a gospel of love thy neighbor, reconciliation, and all of that. But we also have to remember we can't necessarily judge that time and era by our current standards. We've learned a lot. We've received Christ already, so we have to understand that that's not what they've experienced yet in this story. And so what we find is that the month has arrived, the day has arrived in which the people are allowed to raise up against the Jewish people. But what's different now is that the Jewish people have the right to fight back. This happens. But what I like about it is that what we find out too is that it tells us that all the officials of the provinces, the satraps and the governors and the royal officials were supporting the Jews because the fear of Mordecai had fallen upon them. So we have to remember, not everybody decided that they wanted to go fight the Jewish people. It was just this small group out there because there were many people who had come to respect Mordecai. But this did give the Jewish people the right to defend themselves. And then what we also discover within this day that the Jewish people did not go out and attack others. They only protected themselves. So they didn't go running through the towns and cities just killing all women, men, and children, just because that's what they wanted to do. They merely protected themselves in this time. They did not attack. They did not provoke. It was only when they were attacked or that they fought back. So there is some balance to this war that happened, so to speak. They reported that 500 people had been killed in this day, this massacre and everything. And we have another thing that makes it kind of hard to understand in today's terms, but the king says then to Queen Esther, what do you want now? Like, what is your petition? He says in my version. And they need to be killed. And the king says, all right, we'll put him on the gallows. Now, this is hard for us today because it doesn't make sense. But in that time, it would be the son's right to get revenge upon the one who killed their father. And so the way to prevent the king, Mordecai, and Queen Esther from having to look behind their back all the time was to make sure that the line had been destroyed so that they don't have to worry about that. So it would bring them peace, so to speak. It would bring them, they wouldn't have to worry all the time about what was going to happen to them from one of these sons. And so what we find out then, that so now Mordecai is in a place of respect. The king's word has been followed. Queen Esther now has asked for everything she can to protect her people and create peace in the kingdom. And so it just so happens that when all of this happened, the date was called Pur, and it meant the lot. And so the Jewish people decided to make this a festival day of Purim to be reminded of their they're they're being saved. And what's interesting is in the book of Esther, God is never mentioned once. God's name is not used once, but it is the understanding that because they were Jewish people, of course, everything is undergirded by God. And so, in a sense, they're celebrating this day in which they were saved, they were liberated. And so, there's this sense of the and saved them from destruction. And so we see that being all tied up. So, of course, they have to have a celebration now that's going to happen on an annual basis to remember. And I have to admit, this is one of the wonderful things I love about the Jewish tradition is they're so good about remembering the past, connecting their past to the present, looking at the continuous promises of God. There's just this really connection of how God is with us through it all. They do a wonderful job of continually remembering that and lifting that up. And it's something for us to learn. So then we come to chapter 10, which is just a few verses that kind of wraps it all up, you know. They're living in peace and harmony now, and everything now is okay. And this is how it ends. For Mordecai the Jew was next in rank to King Atherius, and he was powerful among the Jews and popular with his many kindred, for he sought the good of his people and interceded for the welfare of all his descendants. So this book ends with us being aware that um, this was not just about Mordecai and Queen Esther. This was about all the people. This was beyond just themselves, and that they stepped out of their comfort zones. They did what was best, even at risk to their own lives, to look for the greater good. And it doesn't matter what your station is in life. It doesn't matter whatever roles you have in your life, whether at work or at home. It's not easy. It's very difficult and hard at times. But you can make a difference. You are making. I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate all that you do to continue up the good and the well-being of others and all that you do along the way, and that when you keep your eyes on the other and how to treat them with love and doing no harm, that you really are doing the work of God. You are being you're God, listening to what God is calling you to, and so I thank you for that. And so thanks for joining me, Pastor Amanda, with Hope, Faith, and Joy. Hopefully this one actually has sound, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much, and have a great day.